Hi, I live in the Netherlands and let me tell you a little secret. The videos you see with sunny bike lanes in the Netherlands are kind of a lie. The Dutch don't have bike lanes, at least not in the way you understand bike lanes or see them presented in most YouTube videos. Have you noticed that the Dutch use the euphemism biking infrastructure? I cannot stress the fact it's a euphemism because my neighbor rides her Vespa legally on most of the biking infrastructure, no helmet required. So does my neighbor in the wheelchair. Most people that show you how great biking is in the Netherlands don't show you that, do they? And the sunny two-lane car-free roads that take you to beautiful landscapes are mostly a mirage. Riding a bike in the Netherlands is awesome, don't get me wrong, I do it every day, but most of the time I ride on some version of a fietsstraat. In English, this will translate to roughly a bike street, which is another euphemism because it's basically a normal destination road painted red, on which cars drive and park. Let me repeat that. The fietsstraat, the street for bikes, has normal car traffic on it and parking. Sorry for the rainy footage, but it's the Netherlands, the only country which has worse weather than England. In England, sometimes the rain stops. In the Netherlands, the wind is so strong it stops the train. And the Dutch ride their bikes in this god awful weather. And so do I. Getting back to bike lanes, the easiest way to explain it is to think of it as card games. Poker in a Las Vegas casino and solitaire in front of your computer are both card games, but the rules, the people involved, and the dynamics of the game make them very different activities. And that is basically the difference between bike lanes and the biking infrastructure. Now that we got that out of the way, we can get to the weird part. In the Netherlands, the biking infrastructure is not made for bikes. That is why it is so successful. Bikes are an accident. To simplify a very long and boring discussion, the biking infrastructure is made for transporting 7-year-old children without them injuring other people or themselves, which is a wild concept. Remember the Fietsstraat? This is a child alone in the pouring rain going to school. And that is a normal everyday thing. How many of you would let your first grade child go alone to school like that? If SUV sales are to be believed, I would bet not a lot of you. On the weekend, I usually see parents with children younger than 7 on the road. I do not mean in the park, I mean on public roads with actual cars surrounding them. Do that in any other country and you automatically lose your children to the state. Me and my wife call them Dutch ducklings because the parent looks like a big duck and all the children have usually very colorful yellow rain boots. But by far the most common road you will see is the two-way street with advisory lanes on both sides, which looks like bike lanes and they are not. I have seen pedestrian, horses, motorcycles and cars ride on the red lines. They have to because this is a two-way street with one single lane on the middle. Understand, most common road in the Netherlands has one lane and two ways. In most of the world, there is a sign that tells you there is a dangerous corner coming. The Dutch ask you, would you like to play chicken in this dangerous corner? If you find this content interesting, please subscribe. If I get enough subscriptions, I will develop this format into something more regular and maybe something better read. Let me blow your mind. 54.3% of the Dutch population owns a car. But because they don't use their cars for short journeys, there is little to no traffic. It's not that the Netherlands is a bike utopia, it's just that short journeys are not taken by car and most long journeys are taken by train. You have heard that the Netherlands has twice as much bikes as people. But no one explains the statistics. Most people that ride their bike to work actually ride their bike and the train to work. That is why there are twice as many bikes as people. Because you use one bike to get to the train station, you take the train, and then in the city of your destination, there is another bike that you use to get from the train station to your actual place of work. And if we are at the point of multiple bikes, the most common Dutch bike is a €20 bike that has no gears, no brakes, that squeaks like a Durex commercial and looks like you need a tetanus shot if you touch it. By far the dirtiest thing in the Netherlands is the bike you take to your local pub. Speaking of Dutch beyond words, the Ove bike deserves a separate video. Renting a bike for a day is about the same price as a bus ticket, and you use the same bus card to do it. Let me repeat that. If you take the train to Amsterdam and rent a bike from the train station and keep the bike for a day, it will cost you about as much as the bus. No deposit, no emails, just a train card. Do you understand what perverted thing the Dutch did to resolve public transportation? Renting a bike is as cheap as the bus is. And that is the thing that most people are missing when trying to explain why the Dutch use the bike more than anything else. Because it is cheaper than parking, it is cheaper than public transportation, and it is safe for a 7-year-old. You don't need your own bike. For 3-ish euros, you can rent a bike for a day, hassle-free, anywhere there is a train station. If you like this, please subscribe. It will help me enormously.